This video is to go over the quadratic functions, a review for our test that we're taking tomorrow. So problem number 1 asks us to write an equation when we're given a table. So the best thing to do would be to put that in stat edit on our calculator. So get my calculator out. I want to go to stat, then number 1 for edit, and I type in all my x values in the L1 box. So -6 enter, -5 enter, -4 enter, and so on. So I got all the x numbers. Then I want to move over to L2 and type in all the y numbers that go with each x number. So -5, 0, 3, 4, 3, 0, -5. Once I finish inputting the data into the table, I'm going to hit stat again. Now I want to go push to the right because I want to go highlight the calc and go to number 5 for quadratic regression. I hit enter. You might have to hit enter a couple times because it might ask you to calculate. But once you do, it gives you the A, B, and C numbers so that we can write out our equation. So A is -1, B is -6, C is -5. That's what I'm going to write down. And I now have an equation for my table. Stat calc. So the equation is -1x squared, or just -x squared, minus 6x minus 5. You can put it equals 0, or you could put it equals y, or you could put it equals f of x. But this is the equation that they're looking for. Number 2 asks us to multiply or find 3x minus 5 times 2x plus 1. These are two binomials, so we are going to create a box and multiply them out. Put the first one on the top. Put the second one on the left side. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. 2 times -5 is -10. And then there's an x. Nothing to multiply the x to. 3 times 1 is 3. And an x. And then 1 times -5 is -5. Now before I write down the final answer, I have to combine the like terms. So the x's go together, and I can combine -10x and +3x to give me -7x. So when I write out my final answer, I'll have my x squared first, then the x's that I combined, and then the number by itself. So this is the answer. This is the multiplied out answer of this question. Number 3. Graph the following equation in your calculator and find the range. So let's go to y equals in our calculator. I want to type in -x squared plus 2, -x squared plus 2. I'm going to hit graph so I can take a look at it. And don't mind those dots that are on there. Don't have anything to do with the one we're graphing. And you can see we're looking for the range. That's the y values. So we're going to look at the y-axis. This line keeps going down forever and ever and ever in both directions. So there's no lowest point of the range. The highest point is right here where y is +2. So there's not going to be any y number that's bigger than +2 for this particular function. So -2 is going to be the biggest number. All of our y values will be -2 or smaller. So I'll write that out. It would be y is less than, sorry, It's a greater than symbol. Y is less than or equal to 2. Any number that is 2 or smaller you can find on the graph. Number 6. If one of your x-intercepts is 4 for this function, what is the other x-intercept? All right, so we can find the x-intercepts by graphing this and looking at it on our calculator. So let's type that equation in. Get rid of these dots first. Y equals, so we have x squared minus x minus 12. Typed in there. I'm going to graph it. And looking at the graph, I can see that one of my x-intercepts is at positive 4, just like the problem told me. The other one is over here at -1, -2, -3. So my solutions, my roots, my x-intercepts, my zeros for this particular problem, for this equation, are positive 4 and -3. So the other one we're looking for is -3. And like I just said, the other terms that could be used for x-intercept are zeros, solutions, and roots. These all mean the same thing, all interchangeable. Number 7, area of a rectangle is y squared minus 8y plus 15. And one of the x-intercepts is located on the rectangle. Which expression represents a possible length? So all we're doing here is factoring out. In problem number 2, we multiplied these two things together to get the answer. So now we're starting with the answer and we're working our way back to get what the two things that we're multiplying together. So we have y squared, -8y, and 15. First thing we need to do is identify our A, our B, and our C numbers. So there's a 1 in front of this y squared. So A is 1, B is -8, C is 15. Now we're gonna draw our box and work backwards. We put the first term in the first box, the last term in the last box. We're going to multiply our A times C number. 1 times 15 gives us 15. Then we're going to put that number into our calculator. Y1 will be 15 divided by x, and Y2 will be 15 divided by x plus x. Putting this in the calculator will give us the two missing numbers for the other two boxes. So let's pull our calculator out. We're going to go to y equals. Let's clear that. We have 15 divided by x. And in y2, we're going to put 15 divided by x plus x. All right, we want to look at the table. So we're going to hit second and then graph to give us our table of values. And we are looking for our B number. So our B number in the problem was -8. I want to find -8 in my Y2 column. So these are all positive, so I'm going to go up. And there's -8 right here. So these are the two factors that I'm going to use for the problem. I got -5 and -3. So -5x, -3, well, these are y's. -5y. So now we just want to pull out the things that are in common. On the top, I can take a y out of both. On the bottom, I can take out a -3. On the left, I can take out a y. On the bottom, I can take out a -5. So our two factors when we multiply this thing at, or the two factors of this trinomial are x minus 3, y minus 3, and y minus 5. So looking for these in the answer choice, The only one that matches one of the ones that we just found is D, y minus 3.